Kia ora tātou katoa. So I'm going to look more specifically, I guess, at the development of the Rotorua Lakes trading prototype as an example of a collaborative policy development process. In doing that, I'll draw mainly on my own experience, but I'm conscious, I guess, that I'll bring a range of perspectives to that, which I'll be flicking through as I go. As a former bureaucrat, and I guess the former Department of Conservation Conservator in the Bay of Plenty, as a member of the Nutrient Trading Study Group for God knows how many years it ran for, probably 4 years, and having drawn the short straw, I guess, to represent the group here today. And now, I guess, as an outsider, looking back into the process. So for me, the move towards a collaborative process of policy development was a novel one, and it was a hugely significant move away from the more traditional approaches that I'd been a part of using, which was very much around where the policy people will build it and will come and talk to you about it. This was very much a move away to actually give away some of that control and really bring the community in as part of the process. So I'll talk only very briefly about the context and the theory behind the collaborative process, because what I really want to talk to you about is how it played out in practice and some of the reflections I've subsequently had on the process. Goes without saying that the context is a contentious one. Water quality in Lake Rotorua is a hugely high-profile public issue. It's complex and it's highly visible. Solutions, it's well recognised. We're always going to favour one sector at the expense of another. The Regional Council had already taken a number of important and innovative steps to address water quality. They'd established a chair in water quality at Waikato University. They had a range of mechanisms to encourage voluntary adjustment of land use practices, but ultimately they had to rely quite heavily on the rules and regulatory approach through their Rule 11. And that led to an environment where there were winners and losers, and there was tension and there was frustration about the process evident. So then it was enter the economists. Welcome, Motu. I suspect for them, rules and regulation are never going to be entirely satisfactory, and they could see that the development of a market mechanism was potentially, if not a panacea, certainly a very valuable tool in terms of reducing the impacts of land use on lake water quality. To their credit, I think they recognised that this is traditionally hard sell stuff, and no matter how logical and rational economic instruments appear, particularly from an economist's point of view, they are difficult to sell and they're difficult to explain. So they turned to Glenn to develop up a collaborative process with a strong motivation, I'm sure, for them of building understanding and acceptance and being able to demonstrate, at least themselves, that they could sell the potential of the product to a vaguely representative group in the room. So the theory, just very quickly, Glenn has talked about, but I understand really they were looking at two options in terms of establishing a group. The first was to go down what would be the more traditional route of getting a range of technical perspectives in the room, be it economics, science, policy, and bringing those people together with a range of different expertise, but a similar way of relating to technical material. And the second option was to look at a more broadly representative group from the wider community, and to look at a number of those people and groups who are ultimately going to have to be responsible for implementing the results of the policy process if it was adopted. The idea was that getting a representative group in the room would lead to a range of different voices being heard and enable deeper challenges to each other and ultimately a deeper understanding of the issues we were talking about. There was also a secondary aim that down the track there may be a need for the prototype to be sold more widely in the community, and it would be helpful to have people from within different sectors of the community who could go out and do the selling and talk in a language, I guess, that was understood by the people who needed convincing in the wider community. And as I said earlier, I suspect the other motivation was strongly on the part of Motu, needing to demonstrate that they could sell and develop, or both develop and then sell the product to a representative chunk of the community. So how it played out, really it started as you would expect it to start. It was a group that was represented by people with forestry, farming, Maori, conservation, fishery backgrounds, and the initial discussions were positional. They were the traditional series of disjointed, confrontational and positional statements that didn't really resemble a conversation. It was more the need for everyone in the room to get their positions out there and make sure they were understood. And reflecting back, probably not dissimilar to the way the policy process in Wellington works as well, where you go along, you represent your agency, you make sure that you are presenting your position very clearly right at the start so everyone knows where you stand. What wasn't revealed to us at that stage was that we could probably expect 4 stages to the process. The first was about exploring the different perspectives and the issues that people would bring to the room. The second stage was very much diving more deeply into those perspectives. The third stage was starting to understand how things may affect, or different things may affect different groups. And then the fourth stage was how different options might affect different individuals. And reflecting back, I guess the positional statements was very much stage 1. And to be quite honest, it probably represented the usual process of what is normally known as consultation.